About 13 years ago, what might just as well be 13 lifetimes, I was a younger man who thought he had made it. I had the same girlfriend for 6 years, an underpaid but solid job, and the bank had a house that I was allowed to call my own. What more could one possibly want? I had finally found something in my life that I had been looking for a long time: stability. But my foundations were not as stable as I expected, and slight tremors started to shake my fragile base. As many a young man before me, I had followed the wrong example, the perfect image of the family man. So when I thought I was building up my way towards independence and freedom, in fact I was just building myself a golden cage. But the wild animal inside me didn't care for golden bars. 12 years and another 12 lifetimes before, this wild animal had had its first taste of the wilderness. In an ultimate attempt to escape the darkest childhood years of my life, I decided to follow the GR10. I don't know where or how I had found it, but it exerted a pull on me strong enough to revive a new will to live. There I went, a backpack full of stuff nobody needs, a tent from the 80s I didn't know how to put up, and a roadmap scale 1/200,000, bought at a petrol station that showed the route as a tiny dotted line. Needless to say, the learning curve was very steep, and after 3 weeks, with the ruined shoes and only a couple francs left in my pocket, I emerged from the mountains and somehow found my way back home again. Now, this was life. This was an adventure. This was where I felt the wild lion inside me burning like a kitten from satisfaction. What better way to break free from the shackles I forged for myself than to deal with this unfinished business? Breaking free is just as easy done as said, it turned out, and with fist on table I quit my job. This time I was more experienced and better prepared. I had a backpack full of tested materials and a pile of maps to show me the way. No GPX files in those days. That first time I just stuck to the set route. The GR10 runs from Hendaye at the Atlantic to Bagnols-sur-Mer at the Mediterranean, a 900-kilometer trail crossing the Pyrenees on the French side. My playground for over 2 months. Long enough to get lost in time without having to think about arriving somewhere. I started changing. Some changes slow, others almost instantly. Adjusting to being outdoors in all weather and living on the trail almost happened overnight. Like other people come home to a house and can relax, I came to the mountains and felt that home didn't need to be a brick building. Here I was, once locked up, now free as a bird. Fear was non-existent anymore. Anxieties evaporated in the clean air so pure I could taste the forest with all its trees and herbs and rivers. The further I traveled, the more I felt one with this world. Not longer a visitor, but an inseparable part of a larger entity. Like every atom in my skin made a perfect connection with my environment. I blended in. Finally, I had found a home. This home, as it turned out, had a very big garden. There was so much more to discover than just the GR10. Can you imagine? They even have a GR11 running along the Spanish side of the Pyrenees. And in between those there was a HRP, the Autoroute Pyrénées, that didn't care about borders and just keeps you as high as possible. Countless GR transfrontaliers connect those hikers' highways, so there are always options to go wherever you want. "68 days it took me to complete the GR10, but it would take many more to explore this paradise. I wanted to walk every path, climb every mountain, discover every hidden cabin with its treasures inside. I couldn't get enough of it, and year after year I kept coming back for more. And then something profound happened that changed the course of my life. While I was dragging my 80-liter backpack over the mountains, some weirdo overtook me, wearing nothing more than a strange tight-fitting pack while running with a couple ski poles. And this wasn't just some random escaped lunatic, there were many of them. Were these skiers that were lost for half a year? Was a local nut house organizing a field trip? Turns out I wasn't far off. These people were not lost skiers, but mountain runners, and definitely lunatics. Now, being a lunatic myself, this is just what I didn't know I was looking for. So I ran a couple paces after them, but very quickly found out that dragging half my household along with me in a backpack nearly as big as myself wasn't the most effective way to go about the mountains. So, goodbye backpack and welcome Racefest. I was to become a mountain runner. Now I was really living the dream. Running ultramarathons allowed me to explore vast areas that I would normally never get to see. This was luxury to me. All I had to do was run, while countless amazing volunteers in checkpoints, some looking like proper buffets, would feed me. The inner explorer was very satisfied. But even far more satisfying than the food was all the new friends that I was making. You can be anything in your other life, a banker or a gardener, it doesn't matter. The trail is the great equalizer. We all celebrate and suffer together. It is impossible to hide from yourself, just as it is impossible to hide yourself from others. All the masks come off, and out here it shows that we are all the same underneath. You might be all by yourself for hours on end, but just knowing there is someone else on the trail, experiencing just the same as you, pushing as hard as they can and chasing their own dreams, is a great mental boost. In this tribe of ultra-nutters, I was making friends for life.
What was your name again? Hey, Sven! Sven, let er overkomen! Ja, maar dit is cool. Mikael. I'm Jan. Yes!
Then the light bulb went on. Could I not combine my passion for mountain running with my love for backpacking and survival? Some multi-day adventures have ridiculous prices, so that was out of the question. But why not do it myself? So I started plotting and planning a good 300-kilometer route over known and unknown trails in the Pyrenees, and then asked a couple of my ultra-crazy friends if they would like to follow a wild man on a mad adventure. To my surprise, 4 of them agreed immediately. In here we have a nest of trail runners. Let's see what they're doing.
Do I have enough food? That's the question on everybody's minds. Food. Standard trail runners.
Beasts only think of food.
Will this be enough?
What if not?
Then I'll find something on the way.
Or someone.
Or someone.
This is drop bagging. Dry shampoo.
Shampoo? Trail runners are weird animals. What have you got?
Lots of food.
but I will be able to fit everything in because I have a big backpack.
In 3 weeks, they might not even be alive anymore, despite how much food they've got. Better lock the door. Of course, I wanted to keep them alive for as long as possible, so after a test hike, I called a safety meeting. Planning this course had taken quite some preparations. Weeks before the start, I went to explore the highest passes, and some were still covered in a thick pack of snow. So, a bit of creativity was in order, and after several alternative versions, I was finally ready to announce more or less the final route. 285 kilometers long, following parts of GR10, GR11, HRP and some lesser trodden trails. Can't make it too easy now. We would go through the Haute Ariège, from France to Spain, back to France and crossing Andorra to the Pic Herlite. Here a dropback would be waiting for us, delivered by Eddie, better known by some as 65 and back on the bike.
Salut! Merci voor het rijden.
From here we would cross the valley of the Cerdange and climb the other side up to the very long ridge leading to the Canigou, but that is a long way away. We would start our trip in Aulus-les-Bains and climb up to the Cascade d'Ar, one of the biggest waterfalls in the Pyrenees. Up here we would set up our first camp.
Okay, bye bye.
With a stomach full of butterflies and 1,000 mixed feelings of the unknown ahead of us, we set off, leaving comfort and civilization behind, the first steps to become savage again. Here, on our first evening, there was plenty of time to fiddle around with tents and tarps, while others collected firewood, skillfully, eventually, set alight by Adrian, thus earning him his nickname, Spark. It would be our most relaxing evening, while body and mind were still functioning properly. There's nothing like enjoying the beautiful sunset by a fire. From tomorrow onwards, all this would change, we know, but it's hard worrying about the future when here and now we are in paradise.
Good morning. Where is the tarp gone?
This one needs a bit more time to wake up, I think. Although I was surprised to find everybody packed and ready to go at 8 AM. Right, where are we going today? Today was detour day. The original plan was to go over this col, but that was still covered in so much snow that I had to turn back when I came exploring earlier. So we went all the way around, a small section of GR10, then turning south over a small trail that seemed to go on forever, and there we would go over the Col de Rabasser, go down somehow and pick up the HRP, leading us to Sertascan. In theory, this all sounded like a really good plan. 35k only, how bad can it be?
Come on, buddy. Come on, get up there.
The day was hot, the climbing was steep, but the views made it all worth it. Green islands peeking above the cloud beds, old forests with gnarly moss trees. We climb over rocks and snow, following a path we can barely see, and if not, we make our own way. The sensation of being far away from everything is very real. Exhausted, we take a break, surrounded by snow-capped mountains, far away from everything, not knowing where we'll end up for today. This is the wild life that invokes a primal fear in some. But for us, for me, this is what we came for. Going into the unknown is the key to our freedom.
Because it's all about using the fear as a guideline, but not let it control you and not let it taking over, which is so important because you would miss all these things. And on the other hand, well, you don't want other people to have to miss you forever. Finally! You happy guys? Huh? Het refuge der Tuscan, where it's way too beautiful to sleep inside. So we're all being out. How you doing, Sam?
Good, good. Enjoying my time very much. How do you feel?
Me? I am actually quite happy because we came over that col over there somewhere, and that was just one of the sections that I wasn't too sure about how it was gonna look and all that, but yeah, we made it over all right. We always make it over. Just takes a bit longer, but the views are just... How do you feel about exploring new places?
That's what I like to do. That's what I love to do. It's such a contrast though with the city life in Amsterdam. But it's the best time to recharge, just in nature, in the mountains, exploring new places, especially if it's places like this. So beautiful.
What's going on with that?
Well, the forecast is good, so I decided to keep under the stars. And now I'm about to eat my cold-soaked dinner, which is not real tourmat, but I'm using this bag because the mice ate my silicone pouch that I used initially.
We are not sponsored. We should
not
be.
sponsored.
Tormat, bring us food.
Please, with a helicopter, there's even a platform. Oh look, there's another tent.
Yeah, it's me hiding there behind the rocks, far away from the world.
Belgian drinking beer.
I have not been what? Drinking beer.
Oh, in the refuge.
It was alcohol free,
Yeah.
the first one.
Not the other two.
Cut. Beer or no beer, it was such a nice evening. This was probably our most beautiful camping spot of the whole trip. The original plan, from which we deviated further by the day, was to go over the next col as well. But it had been such a hard day, and this place was way too beautiful to pass by. This is life.
That's how it should be. Right there. And the sun will come up over those mountains and make me a happy man. Good morning.
Next morning, we went back for coffee. The refuges in the Pyrenees are usually run by some amazing people, and Augusti and Fanny were no exception. They knew the trails very well and made excellent sandwiches, and food that was always welcome.
Ah, no, that's for blind bars.
After some morning exercises and some strong coffee, it was time to go again. But someone didn't fancy going over the next snowy col. And as a main rule, if someone wasn't comfortable with a section, we would take a different route. So we took a beautiful trail down to Tavascan, where we would find the GR11. This one would lead us over the next col to Arreux, where there was supposed to be a shop and we could stock up on food. Good plan again, but as always, a bit of flexibility was in order today.
Come on, Wolfie, give me a howl. Great, actually. It's a nice little cabin with just a wooden floor, so you can sleep in it. Piles of wood ready. No beds or anything else, but it's good shelter.
Then, on the way down to Tavascan, Noor told me she would rather go her own way from here on. Sometimes characters don't match, and when traveling with a group of strangers, there is always the risk of friction. In the end, it was better for all of us. And after an ice cream in Tavascan, we parted ways. Tensions evaporated, the mood lifted, and the sun started to burn as we made our way up along the GR11, a narrow winding path with views of yellow mountains and little clusters of houses with much needed water to cool us down.
Hot, hot, hot.
Iron.
Huh?
Iron taste.
Yummy.
It's good.
Strange. I've heard that in the mountains there's not many minerals in them. Shall we avoid that?
The unexpected stop in Tavascan also meant we were a bit short on time. In Arreux there would be a shop, we were told, but would it close at 4? We might not make that. No problem with Adrian on the team. He wolfed down his big precious sandwich and put himself in race mode in an heroic attempt to get to the shop before it closed. Sam made a good effort to keep up, but in the end the three of us were no match for Adrian's superpowers. And if the way up was long, the way down seemed even longer.
You're thirsty? Every mountainside here has a different microclimate. This side is bone dry. Dry as fuck, as our wolf says. Water. Finally, after a long, hot downhill.
I was thirsty, man.
Finally we made it down, where our superhero had already been waiting for an hour, belly full of olives and patatas bravas.
Hello! Where's the shop? Shop?
Wow.
Closed.
It's there's a sign on the door that if you run it through Translate from Catalan, it says closed. But if you want clothes, honey or sausages, then you can pop into the hotel and ask nicely for them.
The shop, or what was supposed to be a shop, was closed, but this bar did good business that afternoon. Burgers, fried potatoes, olives, roasted corn. I think we had most of what was available on the menu. This feast lasted for 2 hours, until it was a bit cooler and there was life in the legs again.
Recovery starts here.
On the map, just 5 kilometers ahead, a water source. That's got to be a good camping spot for tonight. And a water source we found, albeit not the kind I was expecting. Upon turning the corner of what seemed to be a deserted place, a big dog jumped at me again. But this was Maddox, and he just wanted to say hi. Together with trail angels Ariane and Alexandra, he found this beautiful cabin as a holiday home, and they didn't mind giving us as much water as needed.
Trail angels, we call that.
Super. Geniet ervan.
Trail magic happens all the time. Just keep your mind open and explore wherever you end up. It might just be heaven.
Where are they going? What is going on?
Well, things don't always need to make sense, but we had enough water to drink and to eat now, and we had found another comfortable camping spot. Most of us, anyway. What more could one want?
Morning of day 4, I think. We're still in the beautiful mountains. Bit of climbing to do today. Some new things to sort. It'll be fine.
Rude things were always on my mind. The unpredictable weather and snow levels meant we had to keep a good eye on all possible options. Today we had to go over the Par de Bouet, into a deep valley and up the other side. I prefer the Par de Rat since it's a well-known route, but steep near the top and well above the 2,200 meter snow line. Other options were this path, which is more shallow near the top, or we could go all the way around, onto the GR11 again. The original plan was to go to Furka. That was already scrapped since the refuge, as many others, was closed several weeks longer than normal. In case of emergency though, there's always a winter snow shelter if needed. And if all else failed, we could go down to the GR10, which followed the paths that ran a lot lower. These things were constantly on my mind as I kept a close eye on the snow on the mountains and the weather that had finally turned. Rain had been predicted days ago, but so far we had been saved. Not today anymore. As we approached Refuge de Ferreira, all hopes of sandwiches and coffee quickly evaporated. Shutters closed at windows and doors, all locked up, except for the winter room.
Sam the barista made us deliciously sweet coffee. And what are you having?
Luckily we had our barista with us, who made us an excellent cup of coffee. It was Sam's task for this trip to wake me up with a cup of liquid gold. He had taken this very serious, and every morning he put his little pot on the stove, and even though he doesn't drink coffee himself, he always made some for us. Medal well deserved.
What are you doing? You're throwing your breakfast away.
Yes.
Why?
Would you like it?
You don't like sticky weed.
After this very welcome coffee and a great breakfast, it was time to dress up for the snowy call ahead of us. No escape from the cold this time.
Ready for some snow? Well, that melted away.
What a relief on the call. 2 weeks ago, this place was still covered in a thick pack of snow and the lake was still frozen. Now, all the ice had gone, but the rain made it freezing cold. With numb hands and frozen noses, we made our way down. Slipping over the wet rocks, progress was very slow, and without a dry fiber on our body, we stumbled into a shepherd's hut.
Ilva, back! That way.
So yeah, we came down somewhere over there, you can't see it. All the rock was fucking wet. Over bits of snow. We crossed about 3 rivers to get here. Beautifully warm water, it wasn't. And we're in this little cabin. Cozy little place. So you've got me with about 20 layers on. You've got tarp with about 10 layers on. And you've got Sam over there. feeling a bit hot with this bandana and sunglasses.
Sunglasses are for later today.
Oh, they're for
Sun will
later,
come.
okay.
The sun will come, right?
There we sat, waiting till we warmed up a bit while nibbling on bits of food. But the mood is good. We're in it together. We know it's part of it. Better to laugh with hard times. There's nothing else to do about it anyway. The climb up Porto Rat warmed us up, and even the clouds started to lift. A wonderful landscape revealed itself as we found ourselves on a narrow steep path in a misty wet wonderland. Here too, most of the snow had melted away, and we could enter Andorra in style.
Oh my ass! Guys, it's fun! Woohoo! Yeah! Go Sam! Come on! Oh, come on! You're gonna fall anyway. There you go.
So far we had been blessed by some unique sleeping places, and this evening was no different. This bedshed not only had a somewhat comfortable table and benches to sleep on, but there was also a river close by with lots of fresh watercress. Harvesting day. Fresh watercress with nettle and wild mushroom for me. What do we have here?
Super de watercress.
Welcome in the bedroom.
Maybe not that far.
Hello. Made
Hey.
yourself a nice bed.
Yes, it's a little bit shaky, but it's doable.
Now one would think we would all be grumpy and tired, but it seemed quite the opposite. We were making fun with the most ridiculous things. I can't remember having such a good time in my couch at home. Cold, yes. Hungry, a bit. Tired, that too, but most of all, just alive and having the time of our lives. Next day was a day we had all been waiting for a long time. We were going shopping. This lovely little village on the map was definitely going to have a shop. Andorra was very different to France or Catalonia. It was rich, and even here in the mountains it showed. The refuge that we passed was not nearly as friendly as we had gotten used to, but luckily they were able to make us a sandwich and give us the weather forecast. Rain in 2 hours. We were welcome to stay in the winter shelter though, that was for free. Not feeling welcome at all, we headed up the next col, the Collada de Meners.
Just under the Big de Serrat. Original plans to go up there, but sitting in the clouds now anyway. And we got rain forecast in 2 hours, so prefer to make it over the next col, which is just ahead of us. And what a beautiful view that is. Fuck's sake! I mean, hello guys!
It was always such a relief for me to find the other side of the col snow-free. The burden of responsibility weighed very heavy on me.
Closer, closer. Stop! A little bit back. Stop. Right.
Screw it.
Collada de Meners seems to be a popular one. Various signs tell you that you can't do anything here. You can't even hang skiers under your helicopter or drive your moped around. It's clear why though. This place was absolutely stunning. So much so that even with the promise of incoming rain, we rather sat down and tried to take it all in. I do hope they keep this place pristine and don't destroy it to build another ski resort. Untouched wild nature like this incredible place should be preserved and kept safe from human greed.
Oh, what a view! That's your most epic downhill ever, I think.
Running down over these beautiful trails surrounded by high mountains and frozen lakes is quite the experience. And to add to the experience, someone had to push the dare button. After 4 days without proper washing, why not? If I would do it, Sam would do it, so he told me.
What the fuck? Oh my!
What has been started? Sam, what did you say? This is now all your fault now.
I really didn't think he would do it. It's the best thing. It is clean underwear day.
Feeling pretty chuffed about myself, I was quicker out than in, I have to say. Sam wasn't really keen on keeping his word, but Tarp, in true Finnish style, showed us how it was done, leaving us 3 tough guys standing there gawping.
Swim, fishy, swim!
Tarp, after all, had been given a task too at the start. She was to teach us all something new. She had already showed Sam how to properly climb a tree.
It's better to do it in the dark.
Okay.
You could... Come on. Oh fuck! Oh shit!
Not sure how successful the tree climbing lesson was, but we all could learn a thing or two about being tough from Tarp. After this refreshing dip, it was time to hit the road. Literally, the first bit of asphalt in 5 days. Together with the thought of a shop just 5 kilometers ahead of us, it drove us mad, and like maniacs we raced down the steep road.
3, 2, 1.
Head over heels we stumbled into El Tartar. But where was this little picturesque mountain village I had imagined? We must have ran through some kind of portal and ended up in Las Vegas.
What's happening? Where have we come to?
America? I don't know.
For once, I was not the only one experiencing an extreme culture shock.
The trail runner, get me out of here.
But you have everything you want. Adrian,
Yes?
what did you buy for your backpacking trip?
I don't know, it's all in funny languages.
So tomorrow we pass another shop.
Yes.
Any comments on that?
No?
So, okay. Well, have a nice lunch break.
Well, a man's got to eat, even a small one. We didn't feel very welcome here either, since we were basically stared out of the bazaar by the not so undercover security guard. Nevertheless, backpacks and stomachs had to be filled and some essential kit had to be replaced. But enough of this mad place. Back onto the Savage Trail in full waterproofs. The rain had finally caught up. Through rain, wet clouds and thunder, we climbed up the narrow trail. Still, Out here we were much more comfortable and in our element than in that busy city. It was a stark reminder of a life we had left behind, one we were not ready to return to. The real life was here.
So you basically only think about surviving, about what you're gonna eat, where you're gonna sleep next, and yeah, where you're gonna move forward. So yeah, you really go back to basics, and yeah, that's what I like so much about it. It's such a pure adventure, like, compared to the everyday life we have with all the choices we have to make, from yeah, what shampoo we're gonna use in the morning, to what we're gonna eat, to what type of cereal we're gonna choose from the 25 different kinds in the supermarket. In the mountains, the only thing you need to do is yeah, go find your food, move forward, and yeah, just find a place to sleep. So it's basically all about surviving and really going back to basics, far away from all the technology or screens and all the distractions we have. And that's why it's a way more pure form of living. I think simple life, happy life, that's what I learned in the mountains.
After a long climb through this wet fairy tale landscape, Refuge Juglar appeared before us. For once, we decided to stay and treat ourselves to a bed and the comforts of a real toilet. Cabane, Gîte or Refuge, these are places to meet some great people, and over the years I have met some really friendly gardiens. That is, if you play by the rules. Some people simply don't know how to behave and can't close the door to keep the cold out, or wipe their table after dinner. This, understandably, Pepe did not like, and one could always tell how Pepe felt about something. If you ever come into a refuge, remember that you are not in some hotel. Pepe is not your servant, you are a guest in his home. What our host did like was a bit of music, and when I picked up the guitar in the corner, there was no way I could go to bed without a good jam session. How could I refuse? Music and wine, a perfect refuge evening.
Have you slept well?
Yes, sir.
Are you full of energy?
Yes, sir.
Ah, good. You'll need it. Alright, let's catch these Germans. Come on!
If the mountains looked like a fairy tale in the evening, next morning it must have been heaven. The trail up to the Col de l'Alba was just magical. Trying to describe it would take somebody with far more poetical skills than me. Col de l'Alba also marked the border between Andorra and France, and what better way to leave the country than the way we came in.
Go, 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 go! That's how you do that. Yeah, you're on video, what can I say? It looks good.
Guys. Come on, guys!
When our nice bumps had defrosted again, we dove into the clouds. The trail, when not covered in snow, became a long string of boulders and lakes. Quite a challenge for some. Eventually, it took us all the way down to L'Hospitalet, a small village where we could stock up in the cafe and bakery. There's always room for food in our stomachs. From here, another trail would get us back to the GR10 and over the next col. Our target, a small cabane I often passed by, Cabane Rosette.
You alright, mate? Oh yeah, that too. Are you okay?
Thanks for asking.
Ah, well, it's only being polite with English.
We only laughed for 2 minutes before checking.
Back there, that's where we come from. Between those two peaks, next to Rock 65.
Oh, those two people. Oh, yeah.
No, that one.
The
To the left, yeah. Under
Over
the
there?
branch, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can almost...
The one that looks kind of like, you know, like that, yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
You can almost see Pepe. Pepe!
Pepe has been smoking a bunch, I think.
Further up the mountain we went. The climbing didn't bother us that much anymore. Every day we had been covering about 30 kilometers of rough terrain, and our legs had gotten really strong. Good as well, because Cabane Rosette is a tiny shelter, and we were meeting more people on the trail. And in this weather, on this path, there's only one place to go, and it's first come, first serve. But we were not first. Several tents surrounded the cabane, and inside we found two girls playing cards. Maybe it was the sight of four savages, or maybe it was our smell, but as soon as we came in, they grabbed their cards and couldn't get out quick enough. Fantastic, the whole 6 square meters of concrete all for ourselves. Then it was time for dinner.
Smell that. Can you smell that?
Fuck, you put that away from me.
Yuck.
I'm vegan.
Adrian had his last pouch of freeze-dried stuff, while Sam had found some grains of leftover couscous in his bag.
Things are getting worse by the day. Well,
Me, however, a fully trained chef, preferred a nice stone grill and decided my companions needed a cooking lesson.
these civilized idiots are laughing with my genius invention. I got dry socks, they got wet socks. Plus, I can cook my meat on this while I'm drying my socks. Good, huh? Look at that.
While you're seasoning your socks.
Yeah. Would you rather have that? Look at how happy they are. Are you happy with your food?
Yes, very.
Are you happy with your food?
I'm so happy I had enough.
You had enough.
Yeah.
Sam? Ah, look at that. Good, Sam. How'd you like the stock flavor?
That's a little bit of taste to it. So
Just a bit.
An aroma, right?
aroma, yeah.
Yeah.
The two inexperienced French girls had come back inside, clearly attracted to the delicious aroma of my dinner. Now, since I had an eager audience, I gave another lesson for free. The making of the handy-hand sandal. One takes one piece of foam. Now, like all runners, we had problems with our shoes. Adrian had busted his knee while constantly slipping on the wet rocks, and my shoes, well, they were sandals by now, so that every time we got out, we got the trail runner shoes blue.
All the rock was fucking wet, over bits of snow. We crossed about 3 rivers to get here. Beautifully
I barely
warm water,
any
wasn't
grip,
it?
every 5 steps I slip in these shoes. Well, there's holes in the upper, I won't make it home for supper in these shoes. I am halfway through my run and it's barely any fun in these shoes. So that every time we get out, we get the trail runner shoes blue. Since most people have 2 feet, we make 2 sandals. And we got another nice shape like this. Hop, hop, hop. We take our paracord. That is enough. If you want the Amazonian model, take double as much. Hop, hop, hop. Make a hole in that. Make a hole in that. And there. It's not funny.
Very elegant.
It's a serious show, huh? And we take the rope. So every time we get out, we get the trail runner shoes blue. My toes are kicking in the snow, they're blue and cold to the bone in these shoes. Oh, I collect a ton of gravel after every mile I travel in these shoes. Well, I'd rather have some fun to make my way back home instead of the trail shoes blue.
Hello, you're live on Candy Camera. We're just finishing the show on how to make one's own sandals. Next week we will show you how to cook your own socks with pizza seasoning. There we go. Thanks for joining.
Feeling very satisfied for doing so many good deeds, we went to sleep. It had been a memorable evening, and I will never pass Cabane Rosette anymore without a big grin on my face.
What should we call this? Sock shack.
Morning of day 5, I think, or 6, I lost count. Beautiful night in a cabane, freezing cold again. Hopefully the last very cold day. Today was drop back day and a rest day as well. Just one small col to beat and a beautiful 10 km downhill along the Lac de Bouilloux. This nature reserve was incredibly beautiful and I passed here several times. Down here Eddie would be waiting for us with our drop bags. As was a big storm, so there was nothing else to do but wait and devour whatever was available to order in the auberge. Too busy eating, nobody took a picture of this feast.
This is very stressful, leaving food behind.
When the rain cleared, Sam invited me for a 10 km run. See how far we could get up Kerlit. Not wanting to drag anything along with me for once, the camera stayed home. Some memories don't need a digital version and are just printed on the back of my eyeballs. Like standing at the foot of Kerlit, snow flying past us horizontally, white patches on the steep slopes barely visible through the storm, and we two, just standing there, enjoying this wild show of nature.
Okay, maybe it's time to go down. What a view! Woo!
Climbing Kerlit would have to wait till next morning.
There she is, Kerlit again. Yesterday me and Sam ended up there in a complete blizzard. That's why there's a nice fresh dusting of snow. And for the first time in days we have a completely blue sky. You guys happy? Woo! Let's do these! Hello, Thor! Who else have we got like that? There he is. Hello, barista. Spark! Come on, Spark. Go claim your prize. Woo!
I'm sure there are plenty books written about why people climb mountains, just like the question why we run. I guess it sets us free. It is liberating. You can leave everything behind you, and for a brief moment you are literally on top of it all. After the cloudy last days, the view from the Pic de Carlit were a real treat. It was one of the highlights from the trip, and I'm very happy we got to be up there alone. Far behind us we could see Pica des Stads, the one that got away. Because of the bad weather we couldn't climb it. But far ahead of us, Canigou was already waiting for us.
Yep. Come on!
These are tears of joy.
What a start of the day. Up and down Carlit in just 3 hours. It's very technical, but so much fun to run through this nature reserve. And now for the easy part of the day. Once we picked up our packs and had the last coffee in the auberge, it was time for the long descent into the valley of the Cerdange. No more rain jackets, trousers or waterproof gloves needed. This was luxury. Running in the sun, beautiful trails, the smell of warm pines all around us. A moment to enjoy, and to save everyone's knees, we settled for a gentle, fast-walking pace. But it can't be too easy, of course, so I had plotted the shortest way possible to cross this valley, and by sheer luck that ended us up in the valley of Eine. I had no idea, but this was yet another nature reserve. The Valley of Flowers they call it. Apparently there are about 800 plant species here and 60 different butterflies. I, however, think it should be called the Valley of the Marmotte, since we saw far more of these little animals than any flower. Eventually, we set up camp high in the valley. After the previous night in the gîte, we were all missing the peace and quiet of wild camping. A tent might be a small confined space, but it feels like a safe cocoon, and the views are much better than any fancy hotel room can offer.
So this is morning of day, I don't know what. It's been a bit chilly. Everybody looks like an Eskimo. Trying to get over the next col. Not trying, that won't be a problem. But seeing if we can get to the Cret. If we get to there, and it's gonna be a day and a half of Cret walking. Woohoo! Bye, Carlit.
Here we are, day 9. A day that I had been looking forward to a lot, but also one that had kept me awake the most nights since I started planning the route. On my map I had seen this long epic ridge leading to the Canigou, a path I had never taken before, so I had no idea how it would look. If it was just me, I wouldn't think twice and just go, but when taking other people, it's best to check 4 times in this case. The Strava heat map, for example, is always a great tool to see if paths are regularly taken and where they exactly are. And the route planner I used showed the trail as well. Still, this is a series of ridges and cols, and you can never tell how they look unless you're there. So 2 weeks before, I ran a section to the Pic de la Donna. The paths were wide and all seemed well, and to make sure these clouds wouldn't block any view, I casted a bit of my own trail magic.
Thou shalt not pass thunderstorm! I am coming through! Go!
Clearly I was a master in this. When we made our way up to the first col, the views were stunning. Snow levels were not half as bad as they had looked from far away, and apart from a couple fluffy clouds, the sky was clear. It could not have been more perfect. So good, it even made Adrian smile while he was cold, a miracle in itself. From here, we could see almost the entire ridge we had to pass. 30 kilometers of it. Some easy kilometers, some hard, and plenty of suck up that fear and keep going kilometers.
There is gonna go that little triangle. So somehow we make it over all those ridges. And there, and then we should be heading on that path now there. Good plan?
Aye aye.
Aye aye, yes. Aye aye sums it up. That's more like it.
That's a snowball fight.
Oh, yeah.
Almost finished. A little bit of a stretch to do yet. Everybody's so incredibly happy, they can't stop smiling. Well, inside they're smiling.
Oh, we were happy enough. Even though progress was very slow, with every peak we climbed, Canigou came a little bit closer. The wind was blowing fiercely and the terrain was the most challenging so far. This was a proper cret. A narrow path, if you can call it that, with steep drops on either side. Brilliant. Yes, I was swearing quite a bit, but still brilliant. Eventually, we made it to the Pic de la Donna, the one I had visited before. Turns out I had explored the easiest section, since after this point the trail became a bit more runnable, or walkable, since most energy for running had gone by now. We couldn't make it to the planned camping spot that evening, but there was another option. Just a bit off-road was the Refuge de Pla Guillem, more like a glorified cabane, but these places are often built near a water source, and we needed a lot of water, not many rivers on the mountain tops. Not very keen on sharing with some guys who just wanted to barbecue, we set up camp near an even older cabane, made a lovely little fire and, As usual, enjoyed an evening full of banter in this magnificent paradise.
Go run! Run! Go run!
Another sleepless night on the Savage Trail. Let's see what we got just under Canigou. Oh wow. Good morning.
How are you feeling today, Jan?
Good.
That's the level of detail we've come to expect.
Strange how Adrian magically appeared. My brain was clearly still frozen after that incredibly windy night. Defrosting wouldn't take long though, because ahead of us was still a couple of peaks to climb, and we were not exactly taking the easiest route. Not many people came here, since the nearby GR10 is a much easier alternative to get up Canigou. Easy, however, we didn't want, and we didn't regret it either. Every drop of sweat was worth it. This is the beauty of exploring, taking the hard road and finding new trails and places. Expand your world and expand your mind.
Alright, to Canigou. Last big pick of the trip. Oh, it's windy as hell. Ah, but we're running on top of the world. Can you run to the video? That's better. We're running on top of the world.
Look at the nice path we're gonna take just along that ridge. Just a nice diagonal up. And then somehow get onto that little toppy.
Now I had climbed Canigou several times and often found myself alone on the top. But not this time, however. It was June the 23rd, and today half Catalonia would climb Canigou. At night a flame is lit here to celebrate the summer solstice, and that flame gets carried down the mountain to about 500 different municipalities. So yes, it was incredibly busy. Dodging falling rocks and almost queuing like it was Everest, we made it to the top. The last big mountain top of the adventure.
Hello, savages! End of the line. Downhill from here. Well done for 10 days of madness.
Normally from here you can see all the way to the Mediterranean Sea, but the clouds were coming in fast and soon there was nothing more to see than people around us. So down we went. Me, I was feeling quite relieved as a big weight of worries lifted from my shoulders. No more obstacles from here on. Not that I needed to worry anymore by now, I was in the company of superheroes. After several plates of pasta in an overcrowded refuge, we went further down along the GR10. If we really wanted, we could finish today, but neither of us really wanted to finish. If it wasn't for trivial things like work, I believe we would still be going right now.
Out of the mist emerges. Is it a lunatic?
First option was Caban Pinatel, but some idiot was heating up this lovely place to about 50 degrees and filling it with smoke. Don't be that guy. After checking with some locals, we went to the next place I had in mind. It was much quieter and far more interesting, the old iron mines of Pinoza. The colony was built around 1908 and had a bakery, canteen and dormitories for about 100 workers. The Great Depression in 1930 forced the mines to close, but during the summer of '44, thanks to its hidden location between mountains and ravines, the resistance fighter used it as their headquarters. Unfortunately, they were hunted down, the village set on fire and the leaders tortured and shot by the Nazis. A heavy history in a place that looks so peaceful now. Day 11, the final day. Only a mere 15 kilometers to go to Arles-sur-Tech, and from tomorrow our little band of brothers and a sister would separate, as we each went on our own way again. But what would we take with us? What had we gained? A nice engraved knife is a nice handy souvenir, but this adventure was not about achievements in distance or altitude meters gained or medals. The biggest joy for me was bringing 4 strangers together, most of whom would never travel in group, and see us form such a strong team. We all had our ups and downs, but everything was accepted and we could all be ourselves, knowing that as a group we were a lot stronger than any of us was as an individual.
I knew from the start that I was going to be the weakest link, and yeah, sometimes I just felt like, oh, I'm holding everyone back because I'm so much slower, but I think those concerns were just in my head. Right? Picked some good people.
This adventure had been a dream of mine for years, since my early backpacking days, to explore the mountains with some like-minded people. People who loved being in nature just as much as me. Life in the mountains has so much to offer us. Since we've detached ourselves so much from nature, we have forgotten that we are a small part of it. Not above it, not in control, but a small part that moves along with the tides and the seasons. This is hardly felt when we sit indoors, shielded from every little bit of discomfort. But being outdoors all day makes you vulnerable again. You will feel cold and rain, hunger, thirst, the burning of the sun and howling of the wind, the sheer powerful dominance of thunder bouncing off the mountain walls. It forces us to always be aware of our surroundings, to know where we are, to navigate, to communicate, to be creative in finding solutions. It forces us to do what we've been doing for millions of years, to adapt. In adaptation we find the joys of comfort. The water given to us when we're thirsty, the little food we still have when we're hungry, the shelter we find in the storm. We learn what's important and what to appreciate.
When you explore the mountain trails, you feel free. Free from worries, pressures, deadlines, global issues, technology, social media. But these freedoms, they don't come for free. Freedom of movement means you've got to carry some heavy sleeping gear. Freedom from civilization, that means you might go a bit hungry. So that overarching sense of freedom, now that came from accepting that some freedoms were more important than others. Cutting out the noise in life is a key part of finding happiness and building a philosophy of life.
The discomfort felt at first when we are alone in nature has become a feeling of comfort, of safety. And with this feeling of safety we can go exploring. In these mountains there's always a place to sleep, a bit of water or something edible growing. If you are not reckless and treat the mountains with the respect they deserve, then dying is quite hard to do. Savage trails are not reckless trails. Maybe it sounds better in French, sauvage. It sounds softer, while still calls to the wild animal inside us all. The wild animal that I had found in myself years ago. The animal I wanted to bring out in my friends.
That was nice alone. Now the 4 of us. Yeah! Woo! That's more like it.
For myself, living with this animal is quite a challenge, since society traps us so easily with work and money and other mechanisms to keep us in line. But there are ways. As I learned to adapt in the mountains, I learned to adapt at home. Obstacles in life become easier to navigate as we become less blind to the solutions the world has to offer and the solutions we create ourselves. Just like the fear of making hard decisions becomes easier with every thunderstorm I push through, with every peak I climb, and with every hard mile I run. After everything that happened, am I not still alive? Still alive? Or more alive?
I'm a different man to who I was this morning, and that makes this an incredibly good, valuable day. I have lived today.
This was exactly the savage experience I wanted to share, and I couldn't have wished for better company than Adrian, Sam and Ilva. Those 4 animals of us were getting along just fine, wild and free on the savage trails.
Oh, what a view! That's your most epic downhill ever, I think.
Yeah, I want to finish with saying, I think simple life, happy life. That's what I learned in the mountains.